Manic and Chill is live. First episode of October, Shane. Good evening, good people. Shane, how you doing? It's been a week. We said we were going to do a roster review. We've been bombarded with roster reviews.
Yes.
And so we're going to do one tonight, and we're going to go through a specific individual's roster, exactly what we would do if you purchase a roster review. But how you doing? Before we get into it, any pleasantries? I mean, we got killed by injuries this past week. We've had to analyze the value of more elite players than we probably would want to at this point. But welcome in. I'm excited for this review. How are you doing, Shane?
I'm excited as well. We just had a little story before the show about my trip to the MRI machine. So thank God we're doing this now and not 10 hours ago when I was curled up in fear on my sofa. Anyway, no, I'm excited, man. Yeah, a ton of injuries. We got some Woody Marks breakouts. Like, dude, this is the season. This is what's fun, man. 5 weeks in, sucks if people get injured. Whatever, you got to deal with it. So this is we're in it right now, man. And yeah, it's a great time for roster reviews because there's a lot of rosters. You know, we did it last week. We looked at our rosters and go, "Am I in this or not?"
Yeah, we've got this is, I think, the first week because we have bye weeks. We've already had some quarterback injuries, but I think this is the first week where we're coming off Kenneth Gainwell being a top 3 running back.
Right.
We're looking at a Michael Carter spot start coming up here. Michael Carter, who was the 5th running back on the Cardinals depth chart coming into the year, and he's been picked up. And honestly, it sounds like he's going to be the starter. So we're already there. It's week 5. It is time to get a roster review. If you don't already have one, you can click the QR code on the screen that you see. That will take you to the website. Or if you already have access to the website, ddfantasyfootball.com, that's where you can get your review. So I'm going to go ahead and change gears here. So this is going to be our review team for the night. And before I do that, I do want to show this where you can get your review if you would like one. As I flip the controls over, hold on, bear with me. There we go. There's the website. You go right up here, roster review. There's 2 options. We're going to do a recorded review. So basically, this is going to be a review that we're going to record and we're going to send over to the person that purchased it. So you can get them over ddfantasyfootball.com. And when you get one, Shane, they get sent this handy dandy little sheet right here, which we will work off of, not on the screen, but we will work off of it tonight. You literally get sent this form and it tells us all about your league. It goes through about 15 different questions that gives us some context as to what your league is all about, roster sizes, scoring, and then you get down to here talking about your league specifically. Trade deadline, unique rules, biases, how do they value picks, what types of players are valued, exactly what you want us to focus on, and then some things down here about nuances to your league that maybe we want to be aware of. So, Shane, you ready to get into it, tonight's review?
I am ready to rock, brother.
All right, so we're going to use Dynasty Daddy for tonight's review. That's what we do all of our reviews. So Dynasty Daddy, shout out to Jeremy for the fantastic site. So the first thing we do, Shane, we always go through the format, right? So this is going to be a 12-team Superflex league. It is a lineup league. It is 4-point per passing touchdown league. The scoring is nothing fancy, 1.5 tight end premium. There's no point per carry, and it is start 11 with 25 to 29 bench spots. You can go down and get a little more detail from Dynasty Daddy. 12 by 11. You can see it's a quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, a tight end, 3 flexes, a super flex, 12 bench, and then there's probably a taxi, which isn't listed on here, but he says 25 to 29. So that would be 12 by 23 with the taxi would be right there. Scoring wise, I mean, do you see anything crazy here? 4-1. There's no bonuses for first downs, point per carry, big plays. It's literally 1.5 premium. That's it. That's all I see.
Yep. Pretty basic, pretty straightforward.
Okay. So here's the team. Before we look at the roster, we go through the specifics. This league is only a year old, so probably not one where there's a ton of history in it. The startup draft was recent. I don't know if it was this past offseason or 1 year ago, but it's only been around for a year or less. This team is, according to the person that submitted the review, middle of the pack. There is a week 14 trade deadline. As you can see, he does have no 26 picks, but an extra 27 picks. So we've already traded away our 26s on a middle of the pack team. League is Pretty active, moderate is what he rated it. We usually do like a 1 through 5, moderate in the middle. Picks do get traded, but they're tougher to acquire in this league. And then here's what he says about the league biases. Quarterbacks are seemingly not valuable. Now it is a 4-1. So I would guess that most quarterbacks are kind of just what they are. You know what I mean? Placeholders. If you have them, you have them. If you don't, you're not paying much to get them. This is a league with a bunch of first-time Dynasty players.
Okay.
3 people value running backs heavily.
Okay.
Some players in the league do not value young players at all. A lot of people are very stubborn with the picks and the players that they already have, but they aren't super unreasonable on trades. So we'll stop there. We won't go into the specifics of the team, but first glance, 12 by 11, 1.5 premium, 23-man rosters with a taxi. So pretty vanilla, pretty good ratios there. 12 by 26, 27, whatever is with the taxi. First glance at the roster, Shane. What do you notice? Anything that stands out to you?
We're a little heavy at tight end. Not much of a premium for that. I like the wide receiver room. Running back rooms, top 3 are good. We have no 26 picks. For having no 26 picks, I think we would be, you know what? I'm okay with this team. This team's fine. It's good. It needs some work, but it's not bad by any means, right? Like the wide receiver room's pretty good. Roma Dunze, Nico, Rice, Golden Wilby, Travis Hunter. I do notice that we've got some, as the season goes on, we do, even though we don't have picks, we do have a couple players that we can use just like picks in season if we want to buy something in Golden and Travis Hunter too at some point. Other than, maybe one too many tight ends, two too many tight ends. Other than that, we're looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's okay. I can see why it's middle of the pack.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's probably no reason to keep Jermaine Burton on your roster. And as much as Ethan Chisholm's fun, I don't think he's actually been active. But no, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's what I was going to get at. We'll look at the simulator and stuff here in a second. But like first glance, I know it's 12 by 27. I know that it is not a tight end premium other than 1.5. I know that the quarterback scoring is 4-1. And he already said quarterbacks are not that valuable.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at roster construction. You already said it, too many tight ends. Now, the problem is we don't really have a starting tight end. So we probably thought we need to take 4 and hope that somebody can be startable. You probably have been starting probably AJ Barner. He's the only one that other than Arondé Gadsden starting to play a couple weeks ago, like he was the only one playing to start the year. So hopefully you've started AJ Barner in the week where he had a touchdown, and then maybe you started playing Gadsden. But like we have too many tight ends. You might have started Likely when he came back and did nothing. So like you're probably in trouble at tight end, but you're doubling your trouble by having too many guys. You know what I mean? Like I'd stick with the ones that have some sort of usability, but any of them that have value, they can go. Because my tight ends are not going to be good here.
No.
And we can argue they don't really matter that much. Let's go down here to tight ends available. Not that these guys are world beaters, but if you'd have started Tommy Tremble or Elijah Higgins this year, you would have gotten just as much as what you've gotten from the guys you have. So
yeah, well, Terrence Ferguson, has he been active yet?
He is he's the worst of the 4, but probably maybe the most. I think the point is all these guys have some level of value, but what are you waiting for? If they're not usable at any point, the value is all hypothetical. You know what I mean? Like I'm basically holding empty value in a spot where am I going to get burned if I traded away Terrence Ferguson today for a third?
No. You could trade every one of those dudes. Isaiah Likely's the only one I'd hold on to a little bit, and that's only because I know as soon as he has a spike week that people will come knocking for him because they have an infatuation because he had 2 good games last year. So Isaiah Likely's probably the one.
Yeah, the only problem with him is, his quarterback's going to probably be out for a little bit. So it's like it's just you have some remedies at tight end. It's not the biggest deal, but you're inefficient at tight end. So let's look at the other positions. You started to go at it. Receivers. We took some shots at receivers here, right? Golden and Hunter. I get that. But then we also doubled and tripled down on Deontay Thornton, Kyle Williams, Pat Bryant. Like those are 3 rookies that have done very little. I agree with you. Efton Chisholm and Jermaine Burton are guys that I would just rather have something else. I know they're probably taxi squad players, but like, is there anything else I can pick up and put onto my team and move to the taxi? Or is there something better I can pick up off the taxi or put on the taxi by waivers versus having those guys? So those two can go for sure. What about the other three? Williams, Thornton, Bryant, none have done anything. All have played a little bit.
Pat Bryant got sprinkled in a little bit this past week. Kyle
They're
Williams,
in the field. They're on the field a little bit.
Kyle Williams a little bit. I mean, if nothing else is on the waivers for me to grab, I don't care. I'll keep them on the back of my roster. But they're the type of dudes that as soon as something better comes along, and by better I mean a 2-week starter, like let's say Giuseppe's available, I would drop one of them for Giuseppe. Oh, and Giuseppe being DeMarcado.
Yeah. Anybody doesn't know that joke, that was a couple years ago. Shane called DeMarcado Giuseppe, and I mean, he's still around. I mean, you got to give him credit.
Pizza Man is still delivering. But yeah, I mean, but I'm guessing just looking at the fact that Sincere McCormick is rostered, that the running backs available probably aren't great. Yeah, you look Tyler Goodson, Ty Johnson. There's not a lot there to add to the roster, but yeah, I get your point.
No, but I mean, this is where principles come in. Like, I probably have Thornton, Williams, and Bryant on my taxi. I even hate just saying taxi players are free because they're not. They're still a roster spot. Just the criteria is a little bit tighter to be on the taxi because you usually have to be a rookie or a second-year player. But if they're already there, no reason to take them off. But whoever's not on the taxi, if it's Chisholm, if it's Burton, if it's one or two of these tight ends that I could sell for a third or a fourth, maybe not likely, but, Ferguson or Gadsden in a 1-5, like, pick the ones you want and try to sell one of the others. AJ Barner, I'd take any pick for him. He's probably the one I would cut.
Do they have fifth rounders? I'd take a fifth rounder.
Only four, maybe only thirds. I don't know if they have fourths here, but the point is, if I can't get anything for AJ Barner, like, I don't even want him because I'm not starting him over like Gadsden or Likely because I think they just have a higher ceiling. You know what I mean? And if AJ Barner scores 6 points per game and I miss out on that, he can go to waivers and someone else can pick him up. I mean, Ty Johnson is a guy that should be rostered, Shane. He's on one of the best running teams in the league, and he's probably their quasi backup. Like, he absolutely should be picked up. Damian Pierce, I know he hasn't played, but like, I'd rather still have him because it's crazy at running back in the NFL and you never know. So Zamir White, nasty, but like, he's still on a team. He's still played. Like, I'd rather have them than some of these guys. So there's probably some running backs buried in here. Maybe Michael Carter's still out there. Like, he should be picked up. And that's where you're wasting these roster spots on a team that's in the middle. Could be huge. You might be able to get a start or two out of one of these guys, and it's a free pickup. And then look at these quarterbacks, Shane. Marcus Mariota's on waivers. He has been a top 8 quarterback the last 2 weeks, and he's on waivers. If that doesn't speak to this league not caring about quarterbacks,
I mean,
I don't know what does.
And that's not just not caring about quarterbacks. That's what's the word I'm looking for. That's I'm going to say belligerence, but that ain't it. It's stupid, for lack of a better term. I was trying to make it flowery, whatever, make it sound nicer than that, but it's kind of stupid that Marcus Mariota is sitting on. As soon as Jaden Daniels went down, you should have been picking up Mariota. Mariota probably should have been already rostered anyway. If we're looking at Andy Dalton and Joe Milton, and I don't mean to be picking on the roster here, but like, I'd take him over both those guys. So anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, the fact that Mariota is still out there after having 2 top 10 weeks tells me the league just doesn't care. If they don't need him, they're not even going to roster him. So whether you want to roster a bunch of backup quarterbacks, that market probably tells me there's not going to be a lot of equity in being able to trade them. But absolutely, these first two, like, these are both like top 10 backups in the league. They absolutely should be rostered. Mm-hmm. And you could make an argument for Kenny Pickett or whoever the Eagles backup is. Like, these guys should be picked up over the likes of Sincere McCormick, who's buried on a team, even with a bunch of injuries, is buried. And then these receivers at the bottom. And you can free up a few more roster spots by getting rid of a tight end or two. Can I liquidate Pat Bryant or Kyle Williams or Dante Thornton? Can I just get rid of one of those guys, whoever you like the least, and just add another quarterback? Because a lot of people, and there was a comment in here.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean,
but it's like, why not the backup quarterback, Shane? But I'm guessing you can't trade the backup quarterbacks, but why would you still want to roster them? Think about that. What's the strategy?
Well, first of all, I mean, look, no one values quarterbacks until they all start going down. Other than the fact that Marcus Mariota is still sitting out there makes me really, really confused.
Now, it was early in the year, though. So, like, if the Daniels manager had a third, he just probably was like, I'm not trading for Mariota. I'm not even picking Mariota up. I'm just going to put this other guy in instead, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
there's no excuse. There's no excuse for not having Mariota picked up. That's a failure on the league's part. But I mean, it's the same reason we always want to back up quarterbacks, right? Because there's going to be injuries. Just already we've seen it, right? We've had Carson Wentz start, Marcus Mariota, Mac Jones. We just saw Joe Flacco get benched for Dylan Gabriel.
Tyrod Taylor, Jake Browning.
Tyrod Taylor started, Jake Browning. Now, obviously, those didn't go well. So a lot of times what we want to do as soon as we get a chance to move these quarterbacks, we do. I understand right now no one values quarterbacks in this league. Let's see how people feel in week 10 when they're starting, Joe Milton in one of their super flex spots, or instead they have to start Dante Thornton in one of their super flex spots, and see how they feel about quarterbacks at that point.
So I'm actually going to message the person who got the review right now. And here's, I think, the real strategy that people miss out on, because I have some teams that are doing this right now. If you can, and the problem with this team is there's not enough roster spots. It's 12 by 23 with the taxi. So if you wanted to load up on every backup quarterback you could, you don't have enough spots to carry like 10 of them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But like, if I have Drake May and I see we have JJ McCarthy and he got injured, and so we've probably used Matthew Stafford in those weeks that we didn't have JJ McCarthy, right? But you know who's actually, and you were going to say, like, yeah, Browning hasn't played good. Like, some of the spot start quarterbacks haven't done well. You know who else has killed you if you've started them every week? CJ Stroud.
Absolutely.
Cam Ward. You know what I mean? Like, if you just have jammed these guys in because of their dynasty value, they're like quarterback 30. And so you would have been better off starting Tyrod Taylor or Marcus Mariota, or even, even like the bottom end guys, like the Jake Browning bad start. That's no worse than CJ Stroud's average game this year. So you can, especially if you have a strong roster otherwise. I wouldn't say this one's exactly the poster child for the strategy, but like, Shane, I have a team where I have Josh Allen. I don't even have a QB2. I have another one with Jalen Hurts, no QB2. But the reason that it's worked is I went into the season with 16 backups.
Right.
I had Russell Wilson and Joe Flacco. They're dead. But now I have Mac Jones, and now I have Jake Browning on the same team now because I already had those guys. So I got lucky. But guess what? I haven't really needed.
Yeah, but you know what?
QB2, because I have a good QB1 that has carried the weight. That's where
that's not luck, though. That's not luck, though.
Exactly.
Luck is them sitting on the waiver wire when you need them, right? In all of our leagues that we play together, none of those dudes are available. Like, it is very rare that you come across a quarterback that's available that's ever going to start a game, because everyone knows you just roster them, right? And if they haven't, well, then you or I or someone that that plays like us has a ton of quarterbacks on their roster. And then when it's time, sure, you don't want to start Jake Browning. Okay, then I'll turn to Mac Jones. You don't want to start Mac Jones. Maybe Jake Browning gets better later in the year. You start Jake Browning, etc.
Yeah, what it allows you to do is, especially like a league like this where there's probably not a trade market yet, is you can't just say, I'm going to trade these guys, because there's not always a market for them. But what you can do is you can say, okay, I don't have to be holding a guy like JJ McCarthy if I don't want to. I don't have to. It just gives you another option. If you knew you had quarterback covered for much of the rest of the year and you had an anchor QB1, you can live a little dangerously and say, you know what can I move? Can I move Matthew Stafford in this league? Probably not. So this is probably your group. That's why this isn't perfect roster. But
you could move. So, back to your point, though, I have JJ McCarthy, who I could move at any point to buy because I have Matthew Stafford. So I'm a little covered. Now, the problem is something were to happen to pop Matthew Stafford, I'd be in trouble because I don't have any other backups on my roster. But hey, Marcus Mariota's sitting out there. Go pick him up, him and Tyler Bagent.
Yeah. I think and there's a question, I'm not going to put it up here, but it's basically like you have to have a really strong team for that to work. Not necessarily. Sure, I want to win. I want to have the strongest team all over the place. What I'm saying is there are a lot of dynasty rosters out there that all they are doing every week is jamming in Trevor Lawrence and jamming in CJ Stroud and jamming in Cam Ward and jamming in these quarterbacks where you go on the aggregate. And yes, those guys might get better. Yes, those guys are going to start every week. Yes, those guys probably have better matchups when they're facing a bad team than when Tyrod Taylor's facing a bad team. But the point is, there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks that people hold valuable that produce quarterback 25 numbers. And if you're going to eat an entire season of Trevor Lawrence with your QB1 because you can't stomach to trade him for less than 2 seconds, then you're doing the same thing as basically aggregating every backup. You just have to have enough of them to get by every week, which is the tricky part. If you only have 3, you're probably not going to have a starter every week. The team where I have 15, I've had a starter every week, multiples. So it's a macro strategy that allows you more flexibility with your roster construction, especially if you have an anchor QB1. So I want to pivot to that, Shane. Does this team have an anchor QB1 with Drake May?
Maybe.
No pun intended.
Maybe.
Okay. Where do you want to start? We've already talked roster construction. Like, where do you want to attack the team? And I didn't read what he said about his team, but here's what he said for about 2 sentences. We don't have a lot to go on here, but he says he thinks his team is bad, close to removed from a startup. So he's not sure what to do. Made a couple moves before the season. None have worked. Like buying Rome. He's traded Rome for a second and Caleb Johnson. Like buying Rome for my second and Caleb Johnson. I mean, that has worked. Oh, I read this wrong. They have worked out so far. Yes, he traded Caleb Johnson in a second for Roma Dunze. Okay, that was a great trade.
Caleb yes.
He sold low on his first rounder in the startup, but he's not as worried because his team isn't awful. So it wasn't like he traded away a top 3 pick.
Right.
But he's just worried about kind of like, is his team good enough to compete? He doesn't have a lot of flexibility with this year. He does have the extra pick in 2027, but that's it. There is no like any more specifics as where we want to go with this specific team. So where you want to start?
Oh, well, I mean, what do we need to improve? You know what? You know what I want to do now? I want to look at the playoff calculator. Let's just go there. Let's go.
Okay.
Just go ahead and go there. Let's see what Dynasty.
Go to leagues.
All right. Yep.
Playoff calculator. Let's see where we rank. We rank 8th overall.
Okay.
In overall asset value. Playoff calculator, we are sitting 14%. There are a bunch of teams, 3 teams in the 90s, a team in the 80s, a team in the 60s, 47, 39, 39, and then there's a team 19% and 14%. So unlike what we were thinking, Dynasty Daddy thinks this is a bottom 4 team.
Real quick, my favorite team in the entire league, Lil White John. So there's a Philly person in this league. Shout out. Or they're faking Philly. Either way. Yeah, so they don't like his roster. So then right off the bat, we need to make a decision. Like, are we good enough to get into one of those 6 positions? Now, obviously, we're not getting the 1, 2, 3, 4. That's probably out of the question right now, unless something happens to those rosters. But that still leaves the 5 and the 6 seed available. And do we want to try to push towards that, or do we want to go the other way? Now, one of those considerations to that is if we don't push in, we don't have our own 26 pick. That's something that we have to live with either way. But just no matter what, know that. The other thing is this team, is it closer to being a playoff team or is it closer to being a bottom team? What would you need to do here to make this a bottom team? You would need to get rid of Quinshon, Brees, Rome, Nico, Rashi, Drake, not all of them, obviously, but you'd probably have to get rid of half of these dudes. Now, you could do that and pick up a bunch of draft capital, but I don't know that we want to do that. How can we instead fix whatever it is that's wrong with this team, right? So it's 12 by 11, but more importantly, the starters are 11, and I think maybe that's where it's saying there's an issue, because you look at the wide receivers are 3 deep, look at the running backs, 3 deep, that's 6, 2 quarterbacks, 8, then a tight end, 9. And it does get a little iffy after that, right? Because then you got Matthew Golden and Travis Hunter probably in your starting lineup right now, and neither of them have really given you anything. So what can we do to bolster our starting lineup really is what we need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. This is where, because we're in a position where we don't have our first, right? So we're trying to do everything we can to just stave off as low a finish as possible. If anything, we're trying to just sneak in the playoffs. But we also don't have any picks next year. We've already traded our second in 2027 and our second in 2028.
Yeah.
So we don't have much capital to go and buy a filler rest of the year starter. We don't have anything unless we're getting creative to buy even a Keenan Allen. You know what I mean? Like, we don't even have enough to get that unless we can find somebody to take. You know, what can I get with, forget about the roster construction stuff. What can I trade player-wise for a spot start receiver or running back? Like, can I move Terrence Ferguson for something of use?
Something
not even an upgrade, a starter. Because right now, I mean, second starting lineup, we're starting May, Stafford, Judkins, Brees. I think Woody Marks is a locked starter at this point.
Absolutely.
Rome, Nico Collins, and Matthew Golden are starting. A tight end, and then we're probably flexing one of Travis Hunter. Hell, Sean Tucker and Isaiah Davis might be startable. Like, that's where having the extra running backs are. Sean Tucker could be a spot starter.
I was going to say, Sean Tucker, you're probably, and on this roster, I look, I know it sounds crazy, but I don't even know if I want to start Travis Hunter, to be honest with you. I get it.
He's
he'd be your 11th starter. So
he's the guy he's the guy you throw in, because you have two non-obvious starters here between Hunter, Tucker, Rashard Smith, Isaiah Davis. I mean, Dante Thornton and Pat Bryant are on the field. They don't do anything, but they're there. So, like, we're weak. You know what I mean? We're weak at two starting spots. But when you have a team like this, where do you pull to buy some cheap shit? Let me go to the bad teams here. Let's go to the bottom teams. 0-4. Last overall.
That's what we like.
Is Sammy Boner.
Like it.
Anything on here we can buy for cheap?
Sorry. Cheap? No, but I was gonna say Chuba, but Chuba
something.
No, I'm just working it out, looking at the player. Oh, there's Brian Robinson. There's Aaron Jones for later, but we need to start
scoring reminder. It's 1.5 premium, 4 -1, nothing else. Very vanilla.
You could bet on Judy turning things around. Debo would be my target off this roster.
Could we get Jake Ferguson for?
We don't have a starting tight end. That's a good point.
Well, I mean, we're starting Isaiah Likely or Rondé Gadsden. Can we get Jake Ferguson for? The problem is, I mean, if I'm this guy and I'm trading Jake, I mean, he can probably flex Jake Ferguson.
You know what he wants? If you're this guy, you're going, you give me Matthew Golden, I'll give you Jake Ferguson and Deebo Samuel.
I would consider that.
I would do that. Because, again, we're pushing back. We're pushing in. We are. Like, right now, to me, Travis Hunter and Matthew Golden are pieces that I'm looking to sell. Same with JJ McCarthy.
Okay.
And if I can move,
I mean, this team's 0-4
for two starters in Ferguson and Deebo, I'm going to do it. Now, that doesn't mean I'm sending the offer now, because we're going to look at other rosters. So don't get all happy and pull the trigger. But that's the type of deal I'm looking to do. Chase Brown, I see someone mention him in the chat. Yeah, that whole offense is absolutely frightening, and I don't want to talk too much about it because Scott will start crying because that's his team. But
I'm not crying.
That offense is.
You know what I'm crying about? That of all the, I mean, here I'll just, not to ruin this guy's review, but of all the years that the AFC is trash.
Yeah.
This is. Do you know right now, if the playoffs started today, the Bengals would be the 6th seed?
Well, they are 2-2.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're not bad.
But
well, okay. Let me.
All the years where they're awful, this is the year they somehow snuck up 2 games to start the year. They should not have won.
Yeah.
If they had lost those 2, you'd be going, "Yep, they're stone cold the worst team in the league."
No, I mean, look,
probably what they need, honestly.
They're fine.
But anyway,
they're fine. But I don't know that I want to buy Chase Brown right now. I mean, but
because he's not guaranteed to produce better than Sean Tucker.
I don't know that he is. He will get the work. There is that, right? He does get the work. So if you wanted to do Jake Ferguson and Chase Brown, maybe it's the same.
Jerry Jeudy and Jake Ferguson without Cedric Tillman. Did Gabriel spark him a little bit?
Jesus. The only reason he can't do worse than what Flacco did for him, can he?
Right.
Although it feels like Isaiah Bond's going to be the one that's taking over that wide receiver room, but they do need a wide receiver too. So at worst, Judy's a wide receiver too.
Can I get Cortland Sutton and Jake Ferguson for Matthew Golden and Terrence Ferguson?
Yeah, I would smash that. I would do something like that immediately.
Okay. Would you do Isaiah Likely and Matthew Golden?
I don't care.
For Jake Ferguson and Cortland Sutton? You don't care about Isaiah Likely?
No. You whatever tight ends you want. You want Ferguson, you want Gadsden, you want Likely. They're all yours.
You want two of my tight ends? Go for it.
You want two of them? I mean, look, here, I'll give you two tight ends. This guy apparently likes tight ends. He's got Laporta, Ferguson, Ertz, and Waller. So if he wants to continue to collect tight ends, sure, throw me in. Who's that? Rashad Bateman.
I kind of feel like, I mean, look at this team, Shane. This team actually isn't terrible. I kind of feel like this might be the team that like doesn't respond, because clearly they've just taken a 0 at the quarterback 1 position, and their quarterback 2 is basically like a quarterback 3. So like this team's getting killed at quarterback, and they couldn't drop Malachi Corley to pick up Marcus Mariota and put him in their starting lineup. So I don't know. This team seems like one that might not respond. So let's move on and go to somebody else. Let's go to the other bad teams here. So this team's 0-4.
Let's go. Oh, not Kyron Williams.
You can see why. I mean, woof, between Marvin Harrison, Ladd McConkey, Jamar Chase, George Pickens. I mean, other than a couple decent games once for all of them, they've all been disappointing.
Yeah, Jamar Chase. Jesus, look, Ladd McConkey is just a walking disappointment. But they do have J.K. Dobbins. I'd love to get George Pickens off of this roster right now. If Sunday's what it's going to look like for him or some variation of that, I could live with that, no doubt.
I mean, how would you go about getting George Pickens? Would you do J.K. Dobbins and George Pickens for Travis Hunter and Isaiah Likely?
I shouldn't have to do an end.
I mean, it's just I know Travis person with a second piece.
Sure. I'd rather try the Matthew Golden deal on the other side first. I'd rather try Matthew Golden for. I'll be honest with you. I can get J.K. Dobbins, and none of the wide receivers are worth it after George Pickens. Because I'd be fine with Luther Burden, but I don't think anyone has.
Would you do George Pickens, or would you do J.K. Dobbins and Luther Burden for Matthew Golden and just gamble on Burden versus Golden?
Yeah.
And get a free Dobbins?
That's a wash. Yeah, it's basically a wash, Burden and Golden. I mean, I know one's a first-round wide receiver. And this isn't to say that I don't like Golden, because Golden's actually got some positive indicators over the last few weeks, playing time, route sharing, all that good stuff. But J.K. Dobbins, even though he lost some work to Harvey last week, still looks like the real deal, man. He's not going to go away, unfortunately.
Yep, this is one of those teams that should be willing to trade with you. I just don't know what their pulse is on any of the guys they have. They may view Luther Burden as a guy they don't want to deal because they're 0-4, but they probably should be trying to sell Dobbins. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, and what's important is you're not going to know if any of these people want to sell until you start sending them out offers. And if, you have a league where people speak to each other, sure, message one. That's just weird to me. Don't ever message me and ask me what I want for a player. But, if that's the type of league it is, go for it. But otherwise, I say just start firing out offers.
Yeah, and again, just to remind everybody, this is a team that traded away.
It's first.
Back to his roster. He traded away his first. No seconds in the next 3 years. So usually the seconds are the types of picks that if you have them laying around at this point in the season, you can get a kind of a spot starter for more than a game or two. You know what I mean? Like you can go find a team that's willing to sell you like a Wan'Dale Robinson type. You know what I mean? Like you can find somebody that you can probably use the rest of the year. That's where seconds, I think, come in, but you don't have any. So you got to get real creative with some of the players that you can move to try to get some production. And we don't have our first. So it's like, this is a good team, not a great team. Playoff Simulator has it in 10th place. So, like, we have some work to do to even get to we're making the playoffs. We are 2-2. There are some teams better than us that are 1-3 or 0-4. But, yeah, you want to try to just patchwork together any production. I mean, that's why the any RB on a 53 and the any quarterback strategy is huge. Look how valuable Sean Tucker and Isaiah Davis and Brashard Smith could be to this team. We could be like, hell, those guys are starting in my face.
Yeah, I was about to say, those dudes could definitely start.
So, all right, let's go to a couple other teams to see who else we might be able to deal with. Here's a team that's 1-3. Let's go to this team first. Looks like it's a little bit weaker. Yeah, this team's 1-3. Appears they are kind of punting. They do like 27 picks. They've also gotten an extra one of their own. Is there a consideration? Would you move a 27 first here?
Am I getting a Mecca Ibuka?
I'm just
Garrett
throwing it
Wilson?
out there. What would you move to get on this team?
Okay, so if I'm using a first, I want a Mecca Ibuka, Brian Thomas, Garrett Wilson, Brock Bowers,
Travion Henderson.
4.
You're that down on Trey, huh?
No, I like Travion Henderson, but I'm thinking in
27?
terms of, yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's fine. Because, I was going to say, well, it's all about in terms of winning right now, but Brian Thomas really isn't helping me towards that goal either. So if I'm going to be consistent, you know what I mean? I'd have to say Trev too. But it'd be in this order. It'd be Garrett Wilson, Emeka Ibuka, Brian Thomas Jr., Trev Henderson. And that's not how I rank them in Dynasty. That's just how they are useful to me right now. But they've also got Jordan Mason. And you also, you see who also they have that's been getting some run now? Kendra Miller.
Kendra Miller, yep.
Double-digit rushing attempts, man. And Alvin Kamara runs like me.
Giuseppe.
Oh, there's Giuseppe. Oh, how do we get Giuseppe and Kendra Miller off this guy?
That's a great segue, Shane, because if I'm trading for, here's what I do. Let's say I've got a deal where I've been able to narrow down that this guy's willing to trade Brian Thomas. Okay. I need to give him a first. He wants a first. And is Matthew Golden too much? A first and Matthew Golden, and I'll give you Brian Thomas.
No, it's not.
Jordan Mason.
It's more than it.
And a first and Matthew Golden for Brian Thomas, Jordan Mason. But the key to the deal is you have to give me DeMercado and Kendre. And I'll give you 2 of the shits that I was going to cut. You know what I mean? Like, we'll balance it out. We'll make it a 3-for-3 or a 4-for-4. But all that does is gives me 2 extra options in case I need to throw them in there at one point that I could use that I currently would have had to pick waivers for. Like, those are the little things sometimes that, have you had deals that have been like, they get sealed because they're willing to throw you like a Sean Tucker type of player?
Yeah, I love those deals. So, a lot of times when I deal players, I'll look for players like that just to add to the roster. Guys that might be the running back 3 right now, but a couple injuries and look at that, Rashad White or Eric what's his name? Tucker. I already forgot his name. Sean Tucker. Sure, Sean Tucker. Though he's a running back 3 2 weeks ago, now he's a running back 2. And look, I love Rashad White, but the dude's not very efficient. There's chances that Sean Tucker could get some run there too. And Giuseppe. How can you not love Giuseppe? He's back again. So, yeah, I love adding running backs like that. Xavier Scott right now, by the way, too, is another guy I'd love to get thrown into a deal. 8 targets, 7 targets. I don't know, whatever it was. It was really good last week.
So when you're doing a deal like that, do you go to your roster and go, oh, why do I still have Taylor Heineke and Jack Doyle? Do you throw those guys in or do you not put them in? I had someone tell me the other day, if you don't throw those guys in, I actually like the deal better. Like, you have to do.
I just have to cut them afterwards.
Yes.
I generally look to throw back end wide receivers in there because I know even in the leagues we play in, people tend to value.
So you'd throw like Pat Bryant in there if you could get the running backs.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree with that. But you got to send those deals out. Like, no one's going to send you. Someone might send you a trade, but often they're not going to send you a trade that looks like the type of deal you want. Like they're not going to include DeMercado in the deal. They may not value him at all, but until you send that trade, then it makes it clear what you're actually looking for. So I like that. I like that team right here as a trade partner. Let's go to the other 1-3 team and see what they're all about. Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, Barkley, Kenneth Walker, JCM, Charbonnet, JSN. I mean, this team's not bad for being 1-3. I don't know if this team's probably going to tank. Looks like a decent roster.
It's probably a team that just, I wonder what the points for and points against are. Just as an aside,
Big
how fun is it when you look at your team and you go, oh, I'm 4th in points for, but I'm 1st in points against. Lucky me. Anyway.
Yeah, that team is actually right here.
So he's in there,
way above us in the projections, even though he's got 1 game lower in the.
I mean, so
right now.
before we move on, we should probably give it some air. But is there any thought about pushing the other way, trying to recoup some draft capital, etc., and just calling this year a loss? Again, knowing we don't have our first, and we can't get down. Even if we had our first, it's not like we could get down to real low anyway. Is there any thought to that? Halfway competing and giving up players and getting picks, like tearing down from Nico Collins, getting a pick and a player, tearing down from Roma Dunze, a pick and a player, etc. I mean, in a start 11, that might not actually be a bad idea.
I'm not in a rush with this roster because it feels like this roster is, knock on wood, I hate to say a roster is insulated because any roster could get blown to smithereens in the course of a season. But I don't look at this team and go, I'm scared to carry a lot of these players into the offseason. You know what I mean? Rome should continue to get better. Rasheed Rice should come back. Matthew Golden should get better. Travis Hunter should get better. Judkins and Breece Hall, I'm not worried about that backfield like over the next 6 to 12 months. Woody Marks, same thing. I mean, the running backs, I kind of like where our running backs could go the rest of this year with Brashard Smith, Woody Marks, like some of the guys we have on the bench. Like, I'm okay with this running back room. Quarterbacks, McCarthy. Here's the thing, Shane. We do not have Rasheed Rice and JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
So, like, if they can get back in a couple weeks and just be extra starters that we do not have access to right now, it can't hurt. But, like, what would the deal look like? I think the deal to liquidate would be like, can I get 2 firsts from Roma Dunze? That type of deal where you're clearly trading away your best player. Can I get 2 firsts for Judkins, even if I have to throw in like Terrence Ferguson? You know what I mean? Like Breece Hall, now that Braylon Allen's out. Like, I would make one of those moves. If you told me I could trade Breece Hall or Judkins and somehow add enough shit to it to get 2 firsts, I would take my chances that I can backfill running back the rest of this year and bank those firsts. Because I don't even think I have a great chance of making the playoffs anyway. You know what I mean? So all I want to do is just not finish as like the 102. I'm at the 104, 105, like, okay, I'll take my chances. But let's see if anybody might want to do that. Who would be our trade partner? The Contenders, probably?
Yeah.
Contenders with a good record, but no running backs. Here we go. Okay, this team has Amarian Hampton.
DeAndre Swift and Pollard. I mean, they're probably fine with that. They got one anchor back and then a couple guys they can rotate as needed.
They did lose Malik Neighbors.
Did
you explore a Malik Neighbors? How about Malik Neighbors? I mean, I'm going.
You're just gonna.
I'm going all in, Shane. I'm going Malik Neighbors and 2 firsts.
Yeah.
I will give you Roma Dunze and Quinshon Judkins.
I mean, it makes sense, but then it makes sense as far as value. But then, what are we trying to do with it? What's the ultimate thought process behind this? Are we then using one of those first to try to go buy 2 starters, or are we just banking them and trying to halfway compete?
We are continuing to backfill as cheap as possible and just hold on to those first, unless there's an obvious deal where it makes sense. Or you could do the old, I sell for a leverage deal like that. Because me just banking Neighbors and 2 firsts, Neighbors is just done. You know what I mean? I already know that.
Yeah.
And then can I go trade one of those firsts for 2 starters? The old, like, I can get 2 starters. I can get like a DK Metcalf plus a running back. The guys that are not worth firsts, but together they could approximate the first value. And like, I would sell play on the right teams. I would love to sell DK Metcalf and JK Dobbins for a first. You know what I mean? If I could do it, but it takes the right team coming to you on the other side to get that done. So that's not a bad idea. Would you send that out? Neighbors and 2 firsts for Adunze and Judkins?
Yeah, if I can get that, I'm gonna offer it out, and then I'll figure it out later. Because again, I have 2 firsts to shop with. So if I still wanted to compete, sure, I got 2 firsts. The problem is Judkins is gone, but I could always use Golden and Hunter and JJ McCarthy to buy starters for now, even if I wanted to hold on to those picks. So if I wanted my cake and eat it, yeah, sure, my cake and eat it too.
Here's a team with a weak running back room. I mean, Josh Jacobs, Javonte Williams, but then all bodies after that.
Pacheco, Blue, Gainwell. Although, if they were forced to start Gainwell, they're probably feeling good last week.
Probably started Pacheco over him. But yeah, I mean, they might be interested in Judkins. They do have their picks.
Look at that wide receiver room. Tet, AJ Zay, Quentin Johnston, Pittman, Troy Franklin. Can I get Troy Franklin and Javonte Williams?
I mean, you see why this team's good this year, right? Kyle Pitts, Quentin Johnston, Javonte Williams, Josh Allen. Like, you don't even need to show me much more.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Michael Pittman. I mean, this team's gotten, I don't want to say lucky, but they've definitely hit on the upside of a lot of, or the upper side of production for a lot of their players. I mean, do you see a deal here if I were to sell them Judkins?
If I'm selling them Judkins, I'm going to need, and they're not going to want to do this, I'm going to want Javonte Williams, and I would try for QJ. I don't know their appetite for QJ. QJ's one of those players that's divisive. So I would try that.
No picks? You want players?
Yeah, look, if I'm moving Judkins, it's probably so I can get 2 starters.
Okay.
If I'm doing the pick thing, it's got to be for, so if let's just say I'm moving Judkins, I'd move Judkins for, can I get Javonte Williams in the first? If I could do that, obviously I would do that. But
I think you can probably get that done.
Yeah,
I mean,
would try
equivalent
that.
of like a first and a second plus.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of thinking, could I get 2 firsts? And can I get 2 firsts and Jaden Blue for Judkins? And
I mean, Jaden Blue wouldn't even enter in the equation. They wouldn't care.
But Jaden Blue is another. He could be a week or 2 away from being Woody Marks or Rashard Smith.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, if you're trading for Jaden Blue, no one's going to really give a shit about giving him up.
Right. That's why I'm saying, can I get 2 firsts and Jaden Blue for Judkins and a throw-in piece that I don't really care about?
Yeah.
And you know what? Yes, my team just lost its best running back, but I now have a lot more ammo to go and make a more creative move. Maybe I can then flip one of those first for 2 starters. Then I'm actually maybe ahead in current production, but I've banked a little bit more future value. So this is probably a team I'd be willing to trade with too. See if there's any others. Bad running back rooms with good records. No, these guys. Maybe this team. Although, this team's probably cooked with injuries. My goodness. Pearsall, Benson, Burrow. Yeah, this team's probably cooked. Let's go down to here.
Well, wait, let's go back to them. So just maybe
they
might be. Yeah, I just want to see, are they willing to sell at this point now that their season has been blown to obliteration there? Oh, Chris Olave.
Would you do Chris Olave and David Montgomery for a first? Is that enough?
Yeah. This is after I made the Judkins deal? Yeah.
No, you haven't even made a deal.
I haven't even made a deal. No, I'm just selling one of my firsts. I'm just selling one of my firsts for Christopher Olave and David Montgomery. No,
Travis Hunter for Chris Olave and David Montgomery.
No, I'm going to hold there. I'm going to let his value, if I can't get what I want for him, I'm going to let his value just bounce back. At some point it will.
Is Romeo Doubs the guy you would trade like Terrence Ferguson and Pat Bryant for?
That's fair. Yeah. Can you get Romeo Doubs and Blake Corum?
I like that.
Check out the latest Shane Says. I talk about how Blake Corum's eating into Kyron Williams' work. But anyway.
Hey, he just adds to one of those options of you might be able to use him in a month or a couple weeks. You never know. So
exactly.
Yeah, that's one of those deals where if this team is punting, you're kind of willing to just say, what can I get off the clearance rack?
Yes.
I'm not giving you a first. You're not getting Judkins. You're not getting Travis Hunter, Matthew Golden. That's not the type of deal we're talking about when I'm getting these fringe assets. But go to those teams that are kind of looking like this and thinking, because how many leagues out there, if someone made you a trade offer for Romeo Doubs, you would listen, right? I mean, you'd be like, oh, if someone wants Romeo Doubs, holy shit, let me see what I can get.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times if it's nothing flexible, like I'm not trading Romeo Doubs for Kyle Williams. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No.
If someone's like, I'll give you 2/3 in Kyle Williams. Okay. Like I'll listen to the type of deal because I'm basically getting Kyle Williams back as a complete wild card. I don't care if he turns into anything because I got the thirds. So let's go back to his team. See if there's any other options. Would you consider trading JJ McCarthy? Can you trade JJ McCarthy?
Dude, I've already told you 6 times he's on the trade block. Him.
Well, he said
Golden
QBs are not valuable
Hunter.
here. Plus, he's also
that's
injured.
the problem.
So.
Yeah, so that's a problem. So you probably can't move him right now. So Hunter and McCarthy, you're probably going to have to wait until they pop. Like it's going to be hard for McCarthy to pop from the bench, but you know what I mean. They're going to have to do something to make people actually notice them.
Well, here's your team, Lil White John.
Lil White John.
He's 10 and he's 2-2. He's a fraud. He just lost Bucky Irving and Braylon Allen.
Oof. And James Conner. His running back too is Chris Rodriguez. You can have Quinshon for Xavier Worthy, and you don't have an end.
Would you trade JJ McCarthy for Dak Prescott?
I would have done that 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 6 months into the future. Yes.
Just saying.
Absolutely.
I mean, this team's decimated. They lost Juwan Jennings, Cedric Tillman, Terry McLaurin, T. Higgins as our wide receiver 1, even though he's like wide receiver 5.
Yeah, this ain't great, Bob. They are in trouble. They should pivot. This team needs to pivot like ASAP.
Yeah, this team's kind of where we are, but a little worse because they don't have as many usable players even at this point. So this is another team to go to. What will you sell me?
How do I get Jahmyr Gibbs off of you? Here, Jahmyr Gibbs and Dak Prescott. I will give you Matthew Golden, Travis Hunter, JJ McCarthy, and Isaiah Likely in a second. Why a second? I'm just throwing it. We have no seconds.
He made up a second out of the air. Just threw it in there. It's his 2038 second he's already promised. Can we get Malik Washington for Terrence Ferguson?
Yes, you can. Absolutely.
I mean, that's the type of mundane deal that like I could just do and then start one and I don't care about the other.
Yeah.
You know, that's how little transacting in that range of player even matters. Like you literally can trade what you need for what you don't need, or vice versa. What you don't need for what you do need this week. So that's the theme. I think this team is too good to punt unless you can make one of those deals where you're selling one of your bigger pieces for a haul. And then you just kind of retool around that. We don't have our first. So whether we sell or buy, the whole goal is to just not be the worst team in the league, but we're probably not going to stave off being at least middle of the pack.
Right.
Like we're not going to probably pick in the bottom 3 or 4. We're going to be 103, 105, 106, somewhere in that range. And we're just not going to get the pick. So humor me, Shane, before we finish. What would you trade to get your own first back, knowing you control your own destiny?
I mean, honestly, not a ton, only because this team's too good. There's too many moves I'd have to make for that first to truly pay off.
So you're not paying a premium to get like the 105, right?
No.
104, which is like where it sits right now.
Like if I could get my first and a running back for Breece Hall, okay, we can talk. And I love Breece Hall, but like if we could talk if something like that gets it done. Largely,
well, let's go. Let's see who has our first. I'm curious to who has our first now, because we obviously don't have it. This team. This is the team that we just were looking at that has it was crushed with injuries. Like what? David Montgomery in your first for Breece Hall? You're hesitating.
No, I can't start David Montgomery, dude. He's barely playing. This ain't the 2023 Detroit Lions over there. This is they saw what Gibbs can do in 2024 later in the season and said, "The hell with this." So
I was going back and forth with somebody on X, and their comment was basically, "Who's better, Gibbs or Bijan?" And the person said, "Oh, Gibbs has to split with Montgomery." And then I'm like, that doesn't seem right. So I looked it up, and they almost Montgomery and Algier almost have like the same amount of work.
Well, I mean, look, that's people get stuck in there. They think just because something happened last year that it's continuing without actually looking up anything. Trust me, we all do it, right? Except that I actually go check to make sure, especially on Twitter before I tweet something out. But anyway, neither here nor there. So no, Montgomery wouldn't get it done.
Man, I'm trying to think what. So my own first and what on this team? Is there anything?
Tyler Warren, Jameson, Olave.
Mm-hmm. It's leaving it pretty slim. Would you do Trey Benson?
No, because he's
assuming he comes back.
No, I'm done with him already. He's already. Trey Benson has already done.
This was his window. It lasted about a week and a half.
It was. He's done the thing. What's the thing, right? You have this happens more than we'd like to remember, but like a guy gets a shot and then it doesn't happen immediately. Something happens, like he gets injured, and then it never happens again. It's only 4 games, but no, I wouldn't do Benson because I'm trying to win now. Even when I'm making these moves, I want a piece that I can use right now. Because that first, just because I get it back, doesn't mean that I'm going to keep it. I might be looking to sell that later.
Maybe we don't get our own first back. Like, there's just not. Sure, you can offer Brees Hall for Olave in your first, or J-Mo in your first, or even Ricky Pearsall. I know he's injured, but I would consider him too. But would you do the same deal for Judkins, or is that a higher threshold?
Yeah, I think he's a higher threshold.
So Olave in your first for Judkins, you wouldn't do?
No.
Okay.
I got to look at KTC. I wonder where Judkins is at this point in the game.
I mean, you can look at him compared to Brees on our own roster.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's about 500-ish points ahead of Brees. So probably running back like 6, 7 range.
Yep.
So
he is right now. How is Devon changed? Never mind. I'm not even going to get into this. Quinshon Judkins is the running back 10 right now. I don't know what's wrong with people. Devon Chain, James Cook, and Quinshon Judkins, 8, 9, 10. Okay, people. I don't know what these guys have to do to get moved up, but whatever.
Well, this team
here. Good.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, we're getting close to time for the night. We've gone through almost an hour of this review. I mean, this team is one of those where you've sold your firsts. You have no flexibility, as you can see, no seconds for the next 3 years.
Yeah, but you do have flexibility. You do.
You have to be more creative to extract the flexibility.
You can't just do the simple, here's a pick, give me a player deal right now. I mean, you could with your 27 first if you don't feel like making a 27 first because you have an extra one, right? Let me see there. Yeah.
And Shane, I'll just say this. This is a macro statement for the crowd. I don't like throwing firsts around in the deals of just give me some shit now. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I have seconds for. That's what I have multiple thirds for. That's why I draft guys like Kyle Williams to throw them into deals to get players that are going to be dead in 3 weeks. I don't care because I'm looking for stuff that gets me by without having to move my first.
Right.
And I know he traded his first in the startup, but this is one of the reasons you don't trade your first in the startup because if it doesn't go right,
yes,
you know, you're now looking at I have to start trading all my seconds just to stay afloat. And then here we are, we're 2-2 without a perfect roster, and
very rarely does it work out where you trade it your first in the startup. Very rarely. And now, there's cases where maybe you picked up extra 27s like this, or you had a couple other firsts that you picked up, so then you moved yours. But generally, it doesn't work out the way you hoped it would.
Yep. Well, yeah. I mean, this team, you just want to try to stay afloat. Like here's the silver lining. This team has a good foundation, right? Young quarterbacks, young skill players, an extra 27 first. Like, it is not crippled by not winning this year. Yes, it's going to be a little bit hard to stomach that we don't have our own first, and it's going to be the 104 or 105. That's going to sting when you see that pick on the clock and you don't have it. But this team can afford to kind of go, you know what? How can I creatively get some shitty starters and fill them in, and hopefully I can sneak in the playoffs? And that's kind of the expectation. It is not this team's going to make a push. In 30 seconds, saying, let's say this team does sneak in or gets close to it, and we're 5th place, and there's 2 weeks before the playoffs. Would you ever take a roster like this and go, you know what? I'll give 2 firsts for a guy that's just smashing down the stretch. I'll give 2 firsts for Christian McCaffrey and another starter. Would you go all in, or would you always temper it with this thin of pick set?
Here's the one thing though, right? So I have parachutes. I talk about parachutes a lot. Do I have parachutes on this roster? I do. I have Roman Dunze, Nico Collins, Rashee Rice, maybe at that point Trav Hunter, Matthew Golden. Hopefully, I have some parachutes, so I wouldn't be opposed to it. But I got to see when we're there. That's a very are we there? Do I have a legit chance to win? Then I will sell out. But again, I have to have. It's very roster dependent because it can't be Devontae Adams and AJ Brown, and you know what I mean? Like, it can't be that roster because there's no parachutes to pull, and it's all going to crash at the same time.
Yep. Good stuff. Well, this roster review was for Tom. Tom is in our Discord. Submitted this review over at ddfantasyfootball.com. Let me get that back up here for us. Hold on. Boom. There we go. Shane, that was fun. We get to do these a couple times a week. There's the QR code if you're interested in getting one. We may do another live one. Someone messaged me yesterday and said we should do a live one like every 2 weeks during the season. Maybe we do an extra stream or something like that. It's a lot, but maybe once a month, maybe a couple more this year.
I got to wear my pants. You know what I mean? When we do it formal like this, like I'm wearing a shirt, it's different when we're just us. Yeah. No, don't worry. Anyway. I have my shirts on at all times. Hey, real quick. Richie, how you liking your Phillies chances, Shane? I like their chances to win the World Series, but I like their chances every year because I'm a homer. So
this is getting prime time, prime Phillies time. So cool. Well, Tom, thank you for the review. If you're interested in one, there's the QR code. Content coming the rest of this week. We have Dynasty Deal Show on Friday. It's going to be fun. I don't know if you've heard, Shane.
Yes.
But our master and commander of the Dynasty Deal Show will not be there. So
it's going to be me and you.
Shane is going to host the show.
Yes.
Maybe. We will see, but it will be a different crew. It'll be myself, Shane, and Ray. Not a natural host there doing that show, but it'll be fun. We'll go through your trades.
We got this.
And then all the other regular content. So if you're not in the community, ddfantasyfootball.com or patreon.com/allgas gets you in the Discord. Conversations happen there every single day. So appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Good luck waivers week 5, setting lineups, trades week 5, and we'll be back at you next week. Appreciate it.